Good morning, everyone. It's Tuesday rather than Monday because I went to Ren Fair this past weekend and I was wrecked yesterday. Wow, was I ever wrecked? Turns out that we had a heat advisory while I was at Ren Fair, but of course, you don't get reception at Cummington Fairgrounds in Mass. So we didn't know about it till we left. So that was kind of fun and interesting. Um, yeah, luckily we had no injuries, no issues, and everybody was fine, just a little bit overheated. And once we got some water into us and sat in the air conditioned car for a while, it was much better. We're doing it all again next weekend, by the way. So if you would like to come and meet me or have me sign a book or just come hang out and see what the fair is like, we're at the Massachusetts Renaissance Fair, and it is Saturday and Sunday, the last 2 days. We are there the whole time, and we're kind of in the middle of things. If you look for the knights in shining armor, you will find us because we're there feeding them. But beyond that, I wanted to talk this morning about where we come up with ideas, because when I'm at Ren Fair, I always have ideas that I come up with, and that's kind of a cool thing. Um, I come up with ideas in different ways, and this is a mileage, your mileage may vary sort of thing. But when I'm doing my writing, I come up with a basic idea. So, for instance, the first book was Alexandra's origin story. And so the theme was vampires. And there we go. We have it. That's what I wrote with. And then I gave her a couple of big life events. She was in an accident. She became a vampire. She met Des, and there were bad things that happened. So I picked those things, and then I just wrote the story around the big pieces, and I made little drama things happen as I was going along. And when I wasn't really sure, I would pull kind of random ideas. I've said this before, from like Pinterest and writing prompts and things like that, which was great. I write what I know, and I know me. And Alexandra is basically me when I was a lot younger and considerably skinnier and a lot more flexible. um, so I have that to pull from. But I have other characters that I'm writing now, and those characters are not me, but I do the same basic thing. If I were that person, how would I react? I like to world build and then throw my characters into the world and let them run around. I write all sorts of stuff, and some of it doesn't make the final cut, and that's okay. It's easier to get it all on the paper and then work your way backwards and reverse engineer. There's no such thing as too many words. That used to be the case years ago. It's not these days. If you have too many words, you can pare it down if you want to, but you don't have to. It depends on the quality of them and how you feel about them. If they further your story, nobody really cares. Novels have gotten very large. I want you to look at um, the George R. R. Martin series. Those books are like 3 inches thick, and those are paperbacks. So there are no limits on what you can write these days. Um, I pull ideas from a variety of places. When I'm writing a story, like I said, I come up with some big plot points, and then I work from there, and I just kind of let the world wrap around. To me, it's like asking, how would I know what to do every day? Well, I get up and I make breakfast for my hubby, and I move on with my day. I go out and I do stuff outside. I sit down and I write. These are just things I do. I don't have to script that out. I know what I'm doing. And I occasionally write things on my calendar if it's something, like a Ren Fair I'm going to, and other people need to know about it and I need to remember. But I don't script my days. I just know what I'm doing. And I approach my characters the same way. Um, if you create viable characters who have a life of their own, and I highly recommend that you do, they will create their own plots, funny enough. They will do things you never expected them to do, because that's just where the story leads you. And if you give them the head to do that, if you give them that freedom, it's actually kind of interesting, because you'll end up with a story you never intended to end up with. When I wrote Bloodstone, in the original ending that I had plotted out, everybody died. Everybody died. It was Hamlet. But when I finally got around to doing the actual writing of that section at the end of NaNoWriMo, um, that didn't happen. My characters refused to do that. There was just too much interesting stuff for them to do, and they wanted to live and go on and do neat things and love and fall in love and do bad things and eat people. And who am I to say no to that? I'm just the author. They're the characters. It's their universe. They're doing what they're doing. And if that's not an allegory for religion, I don't know what is, by the way. I wonder if God often sits back and thinks the way I do. I can't believe my character's doing this. Why? Why are you doing that? That's so stupid. Don't do that. Oh, you did it. So pull ideas from your life. And it doesn't have to be your life as it is right now, although you'd be surprised how much readers groove on characters doing recognizable things. So, for instance, if your characters have kids and the kids in your novel react the way your kids do, so, you know, the twins tag teaming on the parents in order to get shenanigans done and leaving me tearing my hair out. Those are the kinds of things that I write into my novels. And I might brush it up a little bit and change the details a little bit, file the serial numbers off, as I sometimes say. But those things are real. You can put real things into your novels and just sort of give them a fresh coat of paint so that it's not entirely recognizable. People that you love will recognize themselves in the novels, which can be both scary and fun. It's completely up to you. I will note that there's an interesting quote in A Knight's Tale, which I frequently talk about. I have it up here and I'm pulling it up on my screen. The movie A Knight's Tale has the character Geoffrey Chaucer wandering by, and he says, "I will eviscerate you in fiction, every pimple, every character flaw. I was naked for a day. You will be naked for eternity." And I love that. I love that quote because that's the power of being an author. You can take the jerk who cut you off in traffic and turn him into a character in your novel. You can take the poor abused waitress from your dinner last night and make her a superheroine. You can take your kid and turn them into an animal character. The ideas are endless, but they're right there. Characters and situations need to be relatable to your readers, even if you're dumping your characters into deep space or in the middle of a lava storm or whatever it is that you're doing to them. The people who are reading it are people just like you and me, and we have to recognize what we're reading. There has to be, amongst the jibber jabber and the technical talk and such, there have to be recognizable situations and people there. And so when you pull from your life and the people around you, you give that reality to what you're writing. And I think it makes it richer, and I think it makes it much more identifiable to other people. And if you think this is a new thing, please don't. It's been around for a long time. You can see it in paintings from the Middle Ages. There's a painting, I think it's from the 1700s, called The Boatman or something like that. And it's got a bunch of people at a dock and on a flat, and they're in medieval clothes and they're doing things. That painting has a huge history in that the painter sat at a dock and just randomly sketched people doing different things. And then he went home and he painted the people into the painting, but none of them had been doing what they were originally doing. He put a new coat of paint on it and turned it into this wonderful image, which is so entertaining and interesting to look at. And that's what we're doing when we're writing. You take your characters from things that you know and people that you know, And I can tell you from experience, when people recognize themselves in your novel, it makes them smile. Even if they're a little grumpy sometimes, they're usually pretty happy. I mean, unless you're being a jerk about it. So don't be a jerk about it, but or at least warn them in advance that you're going to be a jerk about it. But you can pick a supernatural theme or this month I'm going to write about ghosts, and then take your husband and turn him into a ghost and see where that leads. What would happen if I took myself and I dumped myself in the middle of a forest and suddenly elves were real? Like just boom overnight. Okay. So you play with it and you see how it goes and you follow the storyline and it will just sort of unfold from your fingers, and it's fascinating and it's fun. And sometimes it helps you work through things that you're going through in real life, which is kind of neat too. Anyway, that's where I'm at today. So if you guys have any ideas about things that you want to hear about, please let me know. I will be at the Massachusetts Ren Fair again this weekend. I will not have books with me unless people say they want to buy some, in which case I'll take some with me. But if you have books and you want them signed, do bring them along. I have no problems doing that. I will be in a linen dress with a coif and a funny hat on. If you go on my webpage, you'll probably see pictures of me in it. But I'm fairly easy to pick out. It's not difficult. Just ask for Allison. Everybody knows me. I talk a lot. But come on down. We'll have fun. I might actually be filming one of the little medieval pieces that I plan on doing as part of the promotion for my upcoming Reenactors Cookbook. So perhaps I will have one of those coming up relatively soon. So you guys have yourself a great week, and happy Monday, even though it's not Monday. And go out, have a great week, stay cool. It's going to be kind of warm today, but it breaks after this. So, hydrate because it's important. And don't forget, have a little bit of salt and a little bit of sugar because those are important too. Love you guys and see you next week.